All innocent life is equal in worth, Israeli and Palestinian. I urge the government of Israel to exercise maximum restraint. As the world is watching.
Well, it was this public condemnation from Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that found him in hot water. The PM issued a warning to Israel over the rules of war, calling on Benjamin Netanyahu's government to exercise maximum restraint in targeting Palestinian civilians in their efforts to defeat Hamas. But much like a lot of what Justin Trudeau does in public, the appeaser faced brutal criticism online, even from Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel's leader hit back at Trudeau, lecturing him in a lengthy tweet about how Israel is not the enemy. He wrote, "It is not Israel that is deliberately targeting civilians, but Hamas that beheaded, burned and massacred civilians in the worst horrors perpetrated on Jews since the Holocaust." While Israel is doing everything to keep civilians out of harm's way, Hamas is doing everything to keep them in harm's way. Israel provides civilians in Gaza humanitarian corridors and safe zones. Hamas prevents them from leaving at gunpoint. It is Hamas, not Israel, that should be held accountable for committing a double war crime, targeting civilians while hiding behind civilians. The forces of civilization must back Israel in defeating Hamas's barbarism. So why did Canada's Prime Minister feel the need to publicly send his warning to Israel, to the country to follow the rules, when so many Western allies have stood in solidarity behind Benjamin Netanyahu?
This is not the Canada I knew growing up. Justin Castro is a different breed of cat up there. He is an apologist. Here in the US, we have Thanksgiving, and there's the adult table and the kids' table. Justin Trudeau clearly is the tallest person at the kids' table, and that's about the best anybody who leads Canada can hope for. That's fine. I suppose it's not nothing. I certainly don't get invited to that dinner, so I can't really complain all that much. However, that's exactly what it looks like on the world stage. There was a famous cartoon when I was a kid in the Warner Brothers world, where there was the big dog running around and the little dog yapping and jumping over him going, "Yeah, boss, what's up, boss? What can we do, boss?" That's sort of Justin Trudeau. It's not Canada. It's not the Canadian people. They're very prideful people, but they elected the wrong people through a coalition government. He's not a majority prime minister, I'd point out, but that's what Canada is. That's what Justin Trudeau is. Plus, if his last name were Castro or anything other than Trudeau, I'm not sure he gets that job. So there's a little bit of a Nepo baby up there, which also gives him an inferiority complex and a need to do something to kind of justify his being there.
But Justin Trudeau isn't exactly the most likeable politician, both in Canada and on the world stage. A recent poll found only 30% of Canadians are satisfied with the job he's doing, while 67% are unsatisfied. To put that into perspective by comparing to the United States, even Joe Biden's approval rating, on average, will stay in the early 40s. By choosing to make a show of Israel in public, Justin Trudeau faced backlash online from users who disagreed with his comments. One person wrote, "He just doesn't get it that no one anywhere gives a what he thinks. Nothing he has said or done has contributed to the greater good anywhere, least of all Canada. Justin Trudeau, remember, you don't even get to sit at the big boys' table." Another wrote, "Justin Trudeau is an international embarrassment." "No one cares what you have to say anymore, buddy," another said. While another wrote, "Time for Trudeau to step aside." A simple "shame on you, Justin Trudeau" from one other user. Another completely slammed the Canadian PM's response by writing, "Justin Trudeau is weak and sympathetic to Hamas terrorists, not surprised." And finally, "Justin Trudeau is a disgrace to Canada. As a Canadian, I am ashamed of what he has said. I hope our Parliament impeaches him immediately."
There's something insufferable about his delivery. It's it's a condescending tone. In 2016, I remarked about Hillary Clinton's campaign style, her cadence in giving speeches. In a one-on-one interview, she spoke like a normal human being. When speaking to a crowd of people, she spoke like a condescending kindergarten teacher, explaining the most basic of things in the most basic of terms in the slowest possible way. This is, for Democrats and Republicans, you just go, what was the alternative that you were the best option possible? So in that sense, I don't get it. I think realistically, Trudeau's existence is 90% his last name, 10% the fact that he spent a lot of time in the gym. So that's about it. I don't know what else you get. Like, he's not the kind of guy you'd want to sip a beer with, because he probably wouldn't drink the beer. He'd probably order a Chardonnay and sip it with his pinky out, which is fine. The world needs people like that too, but we don't have to elect them.
With Canada on the United States' doorstep, the two nations usually do see eye to eye on geopolitical problems. Joe Biden has continued to offer his rock-solid and unwavering support to the Israeli government, even with party progressives pushing back against his unconditional backing of Benjamin Netanyahu. So it begs the question whether there could be any conflict behind closed doors between President Biden and Justin Trudeau over the Canadian PM's decision to publicly call out Netanyahu.
I doubt he's aware of it. I don't think that Joe Biden wakes up and thinks about Canada. I don't think very many people in the United States wake up and think about Canada unless they're really big hockey fans or curling fans or what have you. But in general, the U.S.-Canada relationship has just always been. It's sort of like your neighbor who's been there your whole life. You don't spend a lot of time thinking about them, but you wave to them when you see them. You help them move things around when they need it. But in general, you don't spend a lot of time thinking about them. Canada, if you watch the CBC News, there's a lot about the United States, and it's more in the context of framing Canada as almost on par with the United States. Their population is about 1/10 the United States. Their economy is about 1/15 the United States. There's no real comparison there, but they're a good ally. When the chips are down, they're there for us for the most part. But I don't think that Joe Biden could tell you right now, if you gave him a pop quiz, who the Prime Minister of Canada was. And I think it's probably not a bad thing, to be honest with you, because that allows Justin Trudeau to pretend they're a lot closer than they are. And it allows Joe Biden not to humiliate himself on the world stage any more than he already does.